Hi, this is Ravit and Murray again on the Nasty Divorce Podcast. Just to remind you, we are not lawyers or therapists. We are two divorced parents on a mission to demystify nasty divorces, understand how and why nasty divorces are becoming an epidemic, discuss real problems we see in today's divorces, along with provide solutions.
Get to the quote. I can't wait for this.
So today we're talking about litigation attorneys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So as many of you know, I've authored a book titled Unwanted Nasty Divorces. And I have a few chapters in there where I talk about attorneys, I talk about the justice system, I talk about what kind of attorney to hire, whether you should hire a junior, a senior, a partner, you should represent yourself. And I'll just start off by reading one paragraph that comes from chapter 7 in my book, The Justice System. This kind of explains a little bit of what I think of the justice system. So here it goes. I always tell people that going to court is like going to see a circus show. The lawyers are the performers, and the parents seeking justice are the audience watching this act unfold in front of their eyes. The grand finale is the judgment. You never know how the show will end. It's always a great mystery. Your lawyer also cannot predict with 100% certainty what the outcome will be. You have now lost all control over your choices. It is sad and aggravating. And so the question is it worth it to get an attorney? Do you know what you're getting yourself into? If any of you guys watch the show Suits, I'm not going to tell you when and where because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but Jessica says at one point, we all know that lawyers are nothing more than bottom feeders.
Are they? Are lawyers bottom feeders? Are bottom feeders are like the lowest of the low, if you like. They eat up all the crap on the bottom of the ocean or the rivers. They are not in good stead if you call them bottom feeders.
Well, first of all, I didn't quote it. Jessica quoted it.
Oh, please.
Secondly,
Please. You said it.
I said it, and I'm repeating it. But do I think that all lawyers are perfect? No, I've got a few bones to pick with a few of them, only because of my experience with them. If it's even possible to have a couple of bones per lawyer, I'd probably choose that. But I'm not.
Another question. When you see a lawyer, when I would see a lawyer doing something that, no, that's not right, do you call them on it? You say, hey, bullshit.
At this point, I do.
You do.
After 8 years of going through it, because now I've understood the game. But at the beginning, I was petrified. I was like, I didn't even know what to do with myself. Like days before I was showing up to court, I was a mess. I was losing sleep. I was, either losing weight or gaining too much weight. My mind was focused on this court date.
I imagine it's very intimidating.
It's very intimidating. And the thing is that, as I mentioned in the book, I went through all kinds of lawyers. I did the junior, I went to a senior partner, and I thought no one's going to beat a senior partner. Well, that was full of shit. Yeah, I went to a junior in a firm, I went to a senior in a firm, I went to, seniors working on their own, and I represented myself. I went through the whole thing. And the bottom line was that I was trying to find someone that was ready to do justice.
Were you getting advice on how to find a lawyer?
At that time, no.
Okay.
There was no one really to give me advice, and unfortunately, there were no books or guides or people out there ready to give you advice and tell you what to do and who to go to and who to talk to. And so a lot of my 8 years was all trial and error.
Did you have a series of questions that you would ask the lawyer that you were about to hire for them to satisfy, okay, I think I'll go with you?
Well, I did have a few questions, but they were very good, especially the ones that I chose. They were very good at reeling me in. And they told me what I wanted to hear. But when the time came to actually do their due and enact their role in front of a judge, well, I got a whole different person in front of me.
Oh.
And there was nothing I can do about it at that point. It was too late.
Afterward, when you saw what their performance was, did you say, hey, we didn't talk about that?
Yes.
I didn't think you would go down this road.
I did.
Reaction?
And I'm not one to sit quiet and say and agree with what they've done.
Right.
Or I disagreed with many things they did.
So what happened when you challenged?
Nothing. They still billed me and I had to pay them. Exactly.
Well,
There
if they
is
didn't
no
give you, if
there,
they didn't give you what you wanted.
tough shit. No, yeah. Look at the
Well,
look on Murray's face
I'm just
now.
suggesting,
Yeah.
let's equate it to a mechanic. If my car still isn't working,
Yeah.
well, thanks very much, but make the car better. I
Okay.
brought it to you to make it better. I gave you $600-700 to make it better. The car is still not working. Make it right.
Yeah.
So if this lawyer that you hired doesn't do your bidding,
Yeah.
and still bills you, but you didn't get what you wanted,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, that's the whole game. It's a
Yeah.
circus show.
Yeah.
It's that one thing that is very important to understand is that no one can predict the outcome in court, because the entire outcome relies on a complete stranger, a judge. You've never seen him before. He's likely never seen you unless you've been there way too many times in court, and he's familiar with you now. He doesn't know your kids. He doesn't know your lifestyle. He only knows what you tell him. He's not reading between the lines, and he's not assuming anything. He's just listening to facts that are in front of him. If your lawyer goes and tells you, yes, with 100% certainty, you're going to get this because that's what the law says, and then you come out of court and you're not getting what you were promised, there's nothing you can do. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is they say, but my lawyer told me that I'm going to win 100%. And they say, good luck. Because if your lawyer can predict what that judge will say in 6 months from now, then I want to play the lottery with that lawyer. Because they know something I don't know that I want to know.
In retrospect, would you have hired a female lawyer? Or did you ever have a female lawyer?
I had two, and they were just as bad as the males. And the words that coming out of their mouths were just as bad as the males.
What about older or younger?
I went with a junior, thinking that it was okay, but unfortunately,
that's what you meant by junior by age.
Yeah, okay. Junior means he just graduated law school. Like he's junior in his level of professional.
I don't think I would have taken a junior.
Well, when you don't have the money, you do whatever you have to do, right? I didn't have the finances to to do that.
Charge less.
And the juniors charged less. Yeah, no, that was affordable at that time. Even that wasn't so affordable because he ended up screwing with my case. And it cost me a lot more money in the future.
As you sit there talking to a lawyer,
yeah,
do you get a feel off them as to whether or not they're going to be aggressive or?
When you're feeling completely overwhelmed and emotional, you're not thinking of anything else except, will this person get me what I want? I don't give a shit what the other guy wants. I know what I want.
Okay.
So if that lawyer that's sitting in front of you says, yes, I will help you. And don't worry, you're going to be in good hands. Now give me a $5,000 retainer and let me get this started. Yeah. So when you're emotional, you don't even know what you're looking for. And the stories that fuel us as parents as we're going through this are not necessarily the ones that are going to be discussed in court. Or the lawyer may decide not to present all these stories. So you know how, like, let's say I was getting divorced today and my parents would come with me to the lawyer to discuss all the stories, and he did this and he did that and he did this and he did that. It may not even happen that the lawyers are going to even talk about that in court because they try to keep the emotions or the sagas out of it as much as possible. The problem is you're filled with sagas. And when you're in a state of complete confusion, you end up acting desperately. And out of despair and desperation, you make mistakes.
And you're so vulnerable when you're...
So vulnerable.
Holy jeez. I mean, you end up in front of the judge, in front of your lawyer. Oh, initially, let's start about there. You're in front of your lawyer.
Yeah.
You're very vulnerable.
Yes.
You'll listen to any promise that comes.
Yes.
And any hope that this drowning woman...
You want him to shine some light, some positivity. Yeah.
So you're in no position to be making financial decisions like that.
No.
$5,000. That would shock me, right? Whoa, take your $5,000 request and hang on a second. We got to talk a little bit more.
Yeah.
So this woman, this lawyer is in sales mode.
Yes.
Knowing you're vulnerable.
Yes.
Knowing that you need him or her.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you are stuck. You sign a contract?
Yes.
You do.
You sign a mandate.
You do.
Now let me ask you something. How many people do you think out there have gone to lawyers and the lawyers actually refused their case?
I would bet minimal.
Minimal. The only way, probably.
Okay.
I would think that the only chances of them refusing is if there's a criminal case or something that they don't touch on.
Okay.
But all these little stories and basic divorces, and it's just the he said, she said, ego, power, money, and there's no criminal intentions in there at all. I think that the very few of them are going to refuse it. In my days, there were very few that would refuse it. They were like a bunch of sharks out there. I was told by high-end people that what's happening right now in the legal industry is that they're all sharks. They're like ambulance chasers. They're going out looking for, the cash cows, the people with the most money, to fuel the fire and to bill excessively, because there are more lawyers out there. There are less people willing to spend that kind of money, and so they're all fighting for the same small percentage of clientele.
I had a story one time, if I may.
Sure.
A friend of mine getting a divorce from his wife, and ended up in the office of a lawyer who was a high school mate of his from years past.
Oh.
And so there was this clock, he said, on the desk. And as soon as he walked in, the lawyer hit the clock, which apparently is...
like a timer.
Yeah, right. And then proceeded to talk about the good old days.
Mm.
The days of when they were in high school, and have you heard about so-and-so, and did you know so-and-so got married, and oh yeah, did you hear that guy died too? They talk good 40, 45 minutes, then they spent 15 minutes talking about the actual case, right?
Yeah.
And then he went home, and a couple of months later, a bill arrived for $985.
Mm.
And he went, holy jeez, that was an hour and a half of talking, but only 15 minutes was spent on the actual case. So he called up his ex-buddy and said, hey, dude, we talked about the good old days for the majority of the time that I was there. Why are you billing me all on that? I said, we weren't talking about the case. Oh, well, that's the way it is. You walk in my office and I hit the clock and that's it. I said, well, unhit the clock, the guy told him, and send me a more fair bill. And he did, $250.
Oh, well, that guy's lucky.
You got to call
him. Let me tell you, I've gotten many bills that I have, at the very beginning, I wouldn't track my time and my conversations with the attorneys. Yeah. And then I started after a couple of years and I said, I don't get it. Why am I spending so much money on nothing? And I started tracking my time. And I started tracking the conversations, and I wrote the dates and the times and the amount of time we spoke on the phone. And I would date the emails that are going back and forth to see and compare to my bills. Well, let me tell you, they weren't exactly compared like to 100%. There was a lot of extras on the lawyer's billing, and good luck trying to fight it after. Who are you going to go and fight? You're going to go to Barreau de Quebec, which is all run by lawyers, and say they billed me excessively? Good luck. I mean, from what I'm understanding, Barreau de Quebec protects its own people, so they're protecting their lawyers. How many people would love to complain about their lawyers, whether for unethical work, whether for excessive billing, whether for screwing their case, whether for making things worse? Who knows? But how many people like you and me are actually winning these cases against the lawyers? They're fully protected. And that's why I keep saying to people, if you want to go litigation, it's really your choice at the end of the day. But you have to understand what you're up against. If you're going up in this fight, you have to understand the game. If you're ready to play the game and you think you have what it takes to play it well, go for it. If that's what you want to do, I'm not here to tell you not to do it. But if you're not ready to play the game, don't get in. And don't ever say to your ex or threaten him and say, you know what, screw you, I'll see you in court. Because the second you say that, you've reached a new height, a new level. And he's not backing down from this. He's not coming down from you know what, you want to screw me over? My ego, power, and money is going to kick in. And I'm going to show you who's the boss. Because now that's what it becomes about.
Can you fire a lawyer?
Sure.
You can?
Yeah.
What about this mandate you signed?
You can fire a lawyer, but when you're in the heat of the moment, you're going to fire them?
No, I'm just curious about.
It's very hard. You could fire them at any time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this mandate is not binding, or you said you signed a mandate?
Well, it's binding, but if you're not pleased with their services, I don't see why not. I've never fired somebody. I've had a lawyer who actually quit on me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How'd that rejection feel?
I was very pleased because I complained. Because you know me, I'm not a quiet gal.
You complained where?
It doesn't matter, but the point is that I complained about some monkey business that I wasn't happy about.
But it was a formal complaint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was becoming formal. And so before it became formal, I got a resignation letter that, was some bullshit excuse that we don't get along. Well, duh. Really? When you're billing me and you're screwing my kids' lives, yeah, we don't get along. Okay. Because, I don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate, but I'm not one that will just sit back and just watch while someone's screwing with my life. And there are other people who are very emotional and very vulnerable at that time, and they do, and they don't say anything.
So your advice is pay attention. If you're going to hire a lawyer, pay attention. Yeah. Keep track of stuff. Keep track of your hours. Keep track of what you've told them.
I say that before you even decide, like let's say you're contemplating divorce and you're not sure which way to go about it, before you even say the word, do your research out there. Give me a call. Let's talk about your options. Let's see where you can go, who you can go to. And let's decide what's the right course of action for you. And take my book for $20. Read this book. It'll save you thousands of dollars. Because it talks about the pains of hundreds of people who've been down the exact same path thinking that my divorce is going to be easy. He's going to go to his place. I'm going to go to my place. I'm going to get $5. He's going to get $5 and then it's done deal. Nuh-uh. It doesn't work that way in the majority of the people. Exactly. So plan it out properly. Think about it properly. If you're going to take a junior, think about it. Ask the right questions. And in my book, I talk about what kind of questions you should ask, what kind of research you should do, what kind of attorney do you want. Think about the other person's attorney, your ex's, soon-to-be ex's attorney. You have to play. You're battling against each other. If you're both champs, then you could play fair. If you have one champ and one rookie, well, you have an issue there, right? Because the rookie has to step up. Does the rookie know all the loopholes that the champ knows? Maybe not. But at the end of the day, it's going to be your life on the line.
Hey, listen, you've heard us talking a whole lot about what's going on here with lawyers. We're going to be back again, too. And if you want to, you can feel free to suggest topics that you'd like us to discuss.
Absolutely. And on that note, please note that everything I said today is without prejudice. And I don't hate lawyers. And I don't think they're all bad. I just think there are some that are just horrific. And there are some that are fantastic as well. And on that note, have yourself a day that matters. See you next time.